The time has come for Captain Negativity to make his appearance in last Epoch. I like to call it feedback, but many people don't like to hear my feedbacks. Fuck them. I'm gonna do it anyways. Let's get started. Where did you go, my lovely file? Alright. You know what? Before I start with what I dislike or like could be improved on, stuff like that. Honestly, I shouldn't call it things I dislike. It's just things that I think should be improved. I will say this first. I like this game. I love this game. This game is really fun. It is not too serious. I don't feel like I'm in a competition with anyone. I just want to explore builds and the ease of access to items. It's not too easy, but it is pretty easy. It's not like too complex, right? The amount of materials you get, crafting materials that you get, even like, I don't have enough rune of creation as much as I'm farming mages, like literally every mage I find. Rune of weaving, amazing addition. Rune of havoc, unfortunately, it's hard to get, but again, amazing addition. Don't think I haven't used rune of redemption yet. Yeah, haven't used it yet. Didn't see the reason to. Also, don't have enough of it, so I don't want to just like randomly roll on something until I find like a really good item. And my build is completely not meta. I'm having fun. I just reached corruption 200. If I played my regular build, which is basically the smite judgment build, which I played since the game came out, I know, yeah, I would be doing much better, but honestly, I'm kind of tired of playing that build. I just saw, I saw Phalanx and I was like, yo, man, this looks cool. I want to try it out. I want to play with this a bit. And you know what? It sucks on bosses. I'll be the first to admit. It's not great for like single target, stuff like that. It's really fun for clearing though. Is it fast? I wouldn't call it fast. I also don't have a lot of damage. But man, it is so satisfying. Anyways, this is not about the build, okay? So, all in all, game is great. I love it. Some things I think that should be improved on. Also, another, something I want to mention. The campaign here is like what do you call it? Like it's an honorary campaign, It's like it's there, but like kind of who cares? I finished campaign within like 2 hours, 2.5. Rex finishes campaign like an hour 40 or an hour 30. If this is your first ARPG, I would say enjoy the campaign and do the whole thing. If you played this game multiple times, obviously skip as much as you can. Yes, people are complaining that the game is too easy. I agree, especially if you play ARPGs compared to a lot of ARPGs. The early game up until corruptions is pretty easy. Even if you don't really use a meta build, you can find some abilities that are just like their beginning damage is just extremely high and they're extremely accessible and it's easy to use. And while other abilities are just like not performing as well, but they might scale later, which is something I will talk about in a bit. Okay, but either way, I think this is a pretty solid game for people who are brand new to ARPGs and people who are, who just love to explore builds and love ARPGs. I still think this is a fantastic game for them. Albeit only at the farther end, like probably Corruption 500. I know people like this, they enjoy like Corruption 200 and whatever. But I'm saying like if you're like, you need like to do the most damage, like you need to find that meta build, whatever, right? It's like you need to craft the strongest build in the world. you'll probably enjoy like 500, 800, 900, whatever, and you'll feel good about it, knowing that's like it is technically kind of a challenge for non-ARPG players to get there. Anyways, now that the good things are out of the way, obviously there's more good things. I love Circle of Fortune, that it exists, and I wouldn't say it competes, but it's at least there to help solo self-found players to have some sort of edge over traders. I mean, you don't really, but like makes you feel like it. We'll talk about that too. Okay. Plenty of good things to say about it. Honestly, I can go all day, but I want to give feedback where I think feedback is due. Okay. So let's start with the first one. I honestly hate the low-level monolith blessings. I feel like they are a chore and a waste. All that it does is it just forces me to return to the corrupted monoliths after running the regular one. So usually the way I do monoliths, okay, and I think most people do it that have been around. 1, 2, 3, right? You go to the right. These are the ones that give you like resistances or damages and stuff like that. These ones give you item drops, so you don't really care about them early on. So you just go to the right, and then you do dragons, and then you do these 3, right? Once you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you then have to again, actually, like you probably I think skip this one. It's not as mandatory in corrupted levels, but either way, the point is that's like once you finish these 7, and in order to unlock corrupted monoliths, you have to then go back to each and every one of them and do them again, because the percentages that you get here are really, really low. And like you're basically forced to go ahead and do them again. Now, I'm not against doing them again. I'm against being forced to do them again. Like, if I got like, if I do this monolith, right, and I don't care about anything in this monolith or like certain items that are for my build, I still have to do it a second time in corrupted. It doesn't really give me much. Like it's like kind of like it feels like a waste of my time, right? So I'm not a fan of it. Obviously, like, is this like make me not want to play the game? No. Again, feedback that just stuff that I don't like. Now, as I mentioned before, there are balance issues with some skills, some builds. I'm just gonna read this because I am the one who wrote it anyways. It doesn't affect me too much personally, but I think many notice the discrepancy between certain builds, how some builds are extremely hard to build just to even touch the heels of builds like Judgment Paladin. It is less a matter of, is this build capable of doing the job, and more of, why should I bother trying to make this work when I could use the other insanely unbalanced builds to farm the items for the other build that like I might even have fun with. Okay, so like you're basically trying to carry yourself basically, which is, I think it's great that the game offers you the capability to farm for other builds, but I don't like the fact that some builds are just so strong with practically like all like no, in comparison, no farming required. They just so strong. Paladin right now is just like you have so many defenses up your ass, so all you really gotta focus on is damage. Okay, you just fucking ram through everything, right? So obviously, like, yeah, do you need like 1 or 2 items to really make it shine? Sure, but like realistically, you barely need any items to get to like corruption 300. In many cases, you will melt everything, and you have enough survivability that like you don't really need to have to go out of your way to get insane amount of block, insane amount of endurance, insane amount of anything, right? You blow everything up, but you can also take enough punishment before everything blows up anyways. Okay, and I don't mean like blow everything up like PoE2 blow everything up. I mean blow everything up is like nothing is really like lasting long enough for it to like cause enough damage for you to die. Now, this sounds like it's an SSF issue, but in reality, this causes problems to trade as well. because if you use a bad build, the good builds are the ones who will be destroying the market early, since they will have access to insanely better loot substantially earlier, right? In my opinion, I mean, personally, I don't like trade in loot-based games. I feel like it takes away, but I get that people like it, and that's fine. That I don't have a problem with people enjoying it. But in my opinion, if you have people who are like, let's say you don't play a meta build, right? You are, crawling through corruption 100, you get to 200, to 50, 300, you start slugging, like you really need to find better gear at like 250, so you like barely push on. Meanwhile, people are using meta builds, they're pushing like 800, 900, 1000 corruption, they're getting insanely good loot that they don't even need, they throw it on the merchant guilds for insane amount of profits. By the time you get to that level of getting these items, even if you buy all of their items and stuff, because there will be like some farming involved to get to those high corruptions. And by the time you find stuff to sell, it's like the price will go down. Now, obviously, there are certain things at low levels that you can sell for a lot. Specifically, idols, I believe, is like usually specific idols go for like insane amount of money as long as you know which ones. But point still stands. There are just like some, a double exalted item. You're not finding these in like corruption 100, 150, 200, well, maybe 200. But you're not getting two tier 7s in corruption 200, realistically speaking, right? Like maybe the one-off, sure, but like realistically speaking, you're not getting the LP4s on like items that are like above level 40 or LP3s, right? Again, exceptions happen, but for the most part, you're not. You're getting the LP3 or LP4 for like a level 6 unique. So you go to the merchants and you buy it for like insane amount of price, and by the time you are able to farm these items, the price would have dropped so much because it will be oversaturated, right? Which again, this usually happens with trade, like in every game that has trade. Like even I remember this in World of Warcraft. Mythic rating items buying on equip go for like 2 million and then they dropped like 800,000. Okay, like it happens, I get it, but like I don't know, I think the game should somehow make the discrepancy less, if only for like to affect trade, even if they don't care about balance, which I know they care about balance to an extent, right? They don't want builds to be like completely out there versus builds that are like barely able to like scrape for for leftovers. Anyways, search or filter options for prophecies. Maybe I'm an idiot, but I don't know, man. Oh, maybe it exists and I don't know. But please, I don't need to go through each and every one to figure out where what is, like how many Julras I have, which ones I need for like arena, which ones are for kill like random enemies in some dungeon, death embers in a lightless arbor. Can we get like some search function? I don't know, like if I type in dungeon, it would highlight all the dungeons. If I type in, let's say, Julra, it would show up all the Julras, like something. Like this is really, really annoying to look through the prophecies. This has been an issue since forever. It has bothered me since forever. Not even I don't remember if I talked about it in the previous video. I think I did, but please, for the love of God, we need some filters or search options for the prophecies. It is actually kind of insane. Anyways, this is a minor thing. Include level 0 uniques in the stash tab priorities, 0 to 100 instead of 1 to 100. Some uniques do not have level requirements. This is a super minor issue, but it is a bit annoying. If you go to like the tab priority and you want to put a level requirement for the uniques, you will see that some uniques, get rid of that. Like for example, this unique does not have a level, right? So if I figured out how to do it, but for the most part, Like this one doesn't have a level, this one doesn't have a level. So the way I did it is like something 1 to 20, and then pretty much everything else is like 21 to 100, so that the ones that are basically level 0 do not bounce into this. Now, technically, what you also can do, you can move the, like if you put this on the left, it does prioritize the left side, but that means I would also need to have this on the same tab. So for example, if I had my, let's say let's call this the leveling uniques that I want to use to level a new character, right? Let's say I want to have like, this would be where I would put my leveling uniques, where this would be my like LP uniques, right? Then this method of putting it to the left will not work, right? Everyone likes to organize the way they like. I think just give us an option to make it level requirement 0 and not 1. I think that would solve the problem. Because I think the game considers them as level 0. Right, again, minor issue, but, it would be nice. Shield mechanic on bosses is boring because the bosses have no mechanics but already have a ton of HP. Now, some bosses, this doesn't bother me as much because they have enough unique mechanics, but I would say vast majority of these guys, like just the timeline bosses, the monolith bosses, not Shade of Aberoth, the timeline bosses, for the most part, almost all of them none of them really have a lot of mechanics to justify essentially what would be 4 phases, right? You have phase, shield, phase, shield, phase, shield, phase, right? So you have 3 shields and 4 phases. Nothing really justifies this because they're not actually phasing. They are doing the same 2 or 3 abilities on rotation. I think it's like 3 is the standard. Maybe sometimes there's 4. The only boss that I really think has actual phases is Lagon and technically the Harbingers. This is the... Is this... No, sorry, Spirits of Fire. Spirits of Fire. Spirits of Fire has like the 3 bosses that, when you kill them, you kill one of them, they become into like a necrotic. And when they're fired, they're doing a lot of shit, a lot of AoEs all the time. So it's like in that case, giving them shields not the worst thing. It's still a bit annoying, and I believe they have like less HP per boss. But like doing something like Reign of Dragons, where it's essentially like you go inside of him, so you avoid the breath, you avoid his little drop, like mini bombs that he drops. You keep AoEing inside of him to kill all the ads, and then he does the huge explosion around him. So you run out, and then you run back in, and then you do it all again. So you always stay inside of him. When he does the circle, you run out, you run in, circle, run out, run in, circle, run. And it's like, why am I doing this for so many phases, bro? And then, after all that, the Harbinger comes out. And he does the same thing. So you stand inside of him, and you just pummel him while you're inside of him. Now, obviously, if you don't have like a lot of self-healing, you would be running around. Most of the Harbingers, in my opinion, are fine when they take abilities from the bosses. Reigns of Dragon is especially bad because the abilities are bad, right? Now, there are other bosses that are like problematic. I don't think any boss is as problematic as Reign of Dragons. I think the best boss in the monolith overall probably Fall of the Outcasts. Not because he's interesting, but because it's like, okay, you kill the 4 guys and the boss itself barely has any HP. All in all, right? He has like what, 2 mechanics, I believe. He smashes and he puts like a puddle or some shit like that. Okay, like I don't fight him very often. I never felt the need to, but for the most part, it's like he's very like he's straightforward. So don't give him a lot of HP. Either way, I think maybe 1 shield phase, if any. The thing is, this is probably my biggest problem with it. Every boss has the shield phase, and that makes it like a quick fix rather than an actual fix. Right? It's like, well, like people are killing them too fast, so let's give them these 3 shield phases, and it's like, okay. However, the way they went about, for example, when you have like Uber Aberoth, right? He becomes invulnerable when the Harbinger comes out. You have to kill the Harbinger. Now, in my opinion, that should be a timed thing in the sense that it's like instead of like summoning a Harbinger at certain HP intervals, it should be like you have this much time before the next Harbinger comes out. So it's like if you don't have the damage, right? Because I mean, the problem with that is that like you can make it into like an endurance battle, but it's like then it's just like, well, can I just build something so tanky that I could just like stand in shit? And I'm pretty sure you can. With enough attack speed, enough intelligence, okay, enough healing efficiency, you can paladin your way through that and probably soak all the fucking damage. Okay, like I'm fairly certain you can get to a point where like you're so tanky that you will just soak all the damage regardless. Okay. um so I think like maybe like have like a timer maybe would be more interesting. But that is how they combat the shield mechanic in a sense, cuz like you have the spider boss in one of the echoes, woven echoes, that also it summons like a champion, whatever. Well, it summons one of the tomb boss basically. Um, Twice or 3 times, I believe it's 3 times, and it becomes invulnerable until you kill the tomb boss. So that is like a way to like avoid using the shield. I think they need to figure out ways to do that for all the map bosses. It is atrocious. Okay, these ones are minor overall. They're not a big deal, but I thought let's call them honorable mentions. Monoliths should or could reveal one extra echo distance instead of just the one after next. So if you go to the monoliths, one day, you go to the monoliths, right? So you see how like I have this revealed. Let's say this is a map that I finished. I can see the one that I'm about to do, and I can see the one that follows. I would rather, I mean, honestly, realistically speaking, as I'm saying here, I would love for it to all be revealed. But I understand why that is an issue with the node reset and node shuffle mechanism that you have like in like specific parts of the node of the map. So I like people will like, meta game that shit. So I understand the need for the randomness to happen and generate the maps as you go. However, I think having a distance of one more would go a long way, because it's not one more for this, one more for this, and one more for this, and one more for this, one more for this. And it's like, I don't know, man. I feel like I don't like this because so many times I'm like, fuck, okay, like I don't want to go here anymore, and it's like I have to go back here, and fuck, I want to see like where the arenas are, because I love the arenas. By the way, fantastic improvements on arenas. My favorite my favorite echo to go into, aside from like the woven echoes, outside of like let's say Nemesis or like specific boss fights and whatever, I love the arenas. Please, more arenas. Why? Because they're so fast. They're so fast, and you just don't have to go anywhere, and they just show up on top of you and like just blast everything. Super fun in the sense it's like if I want to progress the map as soon as possible, give me the more arenas. And I wish there was a way to just get more arenas, because arenas are fantastic. Okay, and then the last one, because this was already gone long enough. I thought I wouldn't have enough stuff to talk about, but look at that, 25 minutes. Circle of Fortune could still use more gold production. This has been a problem, I believe, since it came out, basically. The merchants guys, like the traders, make so much fucking money. It is insane. whereas like Circle of Fortune just basically not making any money. Okay, either in the rank tree or the ability to go for Gold Prophecy. Give us the ability to go for a Gold Prophecy. Like, I don't know, maybe like in one of the like 4 telescopes, whatever. I was just there. I should have talked about this before because now it's another loading screen. But yeah, either give us like a way to like a target gold profits or like increase gold drops across the board in echoes or something. Yeah, these are accessories and these are idols, so unless there's like gold here. By the way, I need to start doing these for some runes maybe. That would actually be a good idea. I didn't even know that they give runes. But you get my point. Give us like a way to like target farm gold more so than the maps, because right now it is pretty damn impossible. Like right now I can probably respec once or twice, but that's it. And this is all the gold. I have like 1.5 million. This is all the gold that I farmed. I didn't spend on anything because I had nothing to spend on. But like if I want to respecialize, it's like half my gold. It will take me a long time to get this gold back. And if I respec twice before I got this back, I'm kind of screwed. Right? So yeah, I'm not saying we should get a ton of gold. That's why like I'm less in favor of putting the gold in like the rank of Circle of Fortune. Though that honestly could solve the problem if like once you reach like rank 11 or whatever, like your gold drops increases by like I don't know 500% or some shit. That could be cool because then I don't have to like focus on gold. But honestly, I think like giving us prophecies probably is in essence better because it's more gameplay. It's not a passive thing that just happens, right? So it's like, hey man, I need gold because I want to change to this mastery because I want to use this build. Okay, I farmed all the items. Now I need to farm the gold. Boom, targeting all the gold prophecies. Let's go. Get to work, get all my gold, swap, right? Having the ability to determine the pace you're getting gold more accurately, I think would go a long way. Rather than just like 500%. So yeah, these are obviously like, are these my only complaints? No, but I feel like pretty much everyone covered all of the other complaints that I had. I haven't noted like, if I can make a list of like 30 more things, I'm pretty sure like at least 29 out of the 30 probably was covered by somebody else, way more popular than me. I just want to talk about stuff that I mean, balancing issue in my opinion is just so big that that's why I mentioned it. I think everyone talked about balancing issue, but I feel like this is probably like the biggest problem with the game, with any game that is online realistically. I don't know if they can actually ever solve it. I don't think any ARPG ever solves this problem. All they can do is like shuffle the meta like every ARPG, or maybe they can actually balance it out. I don't know. The game is a bit convoluted in the interactions, not in a bad way. It's a good thing that it's like so mixed in, but you can buff one thing which can completely break a build. So I don't know if they can actually make like proper balances. I also don't want to see stuff getting nerfed to the ground unless it's obviously a bug. But I also just don't want to see massive discrepancies where like, and like, I'm not talking about just like a makeshift build here, by the way. I'm talking about like an F tier build, like a build that is like is known, is like somebody like who's good. The game tested it, right? And he tried it out, and these are the best items for this build, and it's like an F compared to like the S tiers. Okay, I don't want to see S tiers realistically. Maybe like 1 or 2, but they have to be like super unfun. No, I don't care if they're fun or not. But I want more like the movement to be towards the B or C in terms of power levels, right? I want the top to like move closer to like B, let's say high B, and the F to move towards like high C, low B. Okay, I want it a bit closer. I don't care that some people are gonna have stronger builds, but it is annoying when it's like 800 plus. And again, like I said, it's not because it affects me personally. In SSF, I really personally don't care how strong someone is. It affects the merchants, like because of like accessibility to items, because high corruption items just gonna sell more because there's more likelihood for amazing items. And in terms of the SSF, I mean, realistically speaking, if your build is slugging so far behind, where it's like it will take me like a week of hardcore farming to get to a good place, or I can just spend one day, create like a judgment paladin, and tomorrow I'll be at corruption 600, and then I can just use the filter for the character that I actually want to use the filter for him to farm the items on this paladin. It doesn't feel good. Overall, it just doesn't feel good. You feel like an idiot for trying to farm your own gear with the character that who needs that gear, rather than just making like a super insane character that would just farm the gear for him, which then also takes away the satisfaction, right? It's a catch-22 essentially. I think that's how you use it. I never used the phrase catch-22, but I feel like, yeah, you're kind of like screwed from both sides. Like you can't, damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing. So yeah, but again, if you play without internet, whatever, then like and like you don't care about, how fast you go, and you're literally just having fun. Where this is pretty much where I am right now, cause like, don't get me wrong, I am really having fun with my shitty build. But the thought did cross my mind to make like, okay, let me just make a Smite Paladin again, cause I still like the build, right? And just farm up the shit that I need. But I realized that it will literally take away the fun of working hard trying to make this shitty build work. I'm working on a different build now that is gonna be using the Sunforge set, and we're gonna be spin to win, forging, fire, like insane fire damage. We'll see how that goes. I'll keep you updated. But anyways, that is the video. That is my opinion. Captain Negativity out. Peace.